Hey, what you guys are about to watch is a 40-minute video that's 2 fights against the same opponent 2 weeks apart. So I do commentary over the fights, explaining what's going on in the fights, the decisions that were being made, and kind of tactics and difficulties, as well as what I learned from the first fight going into the second one, and kind of how small changes can make really, really big differences. Lots of stuff about technique, mindset, how you face opponents, what their strengths and weaknesses are. So hope you guys enjoy it, and if you want to support me as a fighter and journalist, you can click the link in the description below to see what my Patreon is all about. So this is at Taipei Stadium in Chiang Mai, and this cornerman is Khao, who is at Lana Muay Thai, which is the first gym that I trained at when I came to Thailand. I was there for about 2.5 years. Khao wasn't there when I was a fighter and training at the gym, but I've been fighting in Chiang Mai even since moving to Pattaya because it's the best place in the world for female fighters. So when I come up, sometimes Khao helps me in the corner, which is really nice. This is a fight against Payayong, who is 112, has been 112-pound Northern champion. I'm properly a 100-pound fighter, so there's probably about 6 kilos, which is like 15 pounds between us. But that's kind of how I roll. That's not uncommon for my matchups. I've got these badass Batman shorts that P-Boy at Thai Claw made for me. There's Payayong. She's also a referee at Taipei, which is really cool. There aren't a lot of stadia that have female refs and judges. You can see down here in the center of the screen on the bottom. That's also a female referee. She's what in Thailand they call a tom. It's short for borrowed from English tomboy, and it just means a woman who represents and presents herself in a more masculine way like this. That guy in the corner taking photos of me as a reporter, I think from Chile, and he interviewed me before this fight, and I was talking to him about differences between male and female fighters in Thailand as perceived by me, because it's an interview from me, so opinion, but it was interesting to talk about before having this fight, and it ended up being a bit of a bummer because like the things that I had said about how I fight are not how I ended up fighting in this fight, so I don't know if it's related or not. Payayong is very strong in terms of like her experience and ability to control space and move around. She has a huge right kick. Sometimes I watch her on the live stream of Taipei when I'm at home in Pattaya, watching the female bouts at Taipei because I'm interested in them and I follow the fight scene up there, and she's fun to watch. She's intense. Usually when you watch a girl's Ramway, see how she's like looking around? You can tell how experienced they are by watching their Ramway, like how they do it. There's almost a lack of crispness in the women who have been fighting for a really long time, but it's so natural the way that they do it. I like seeing the Ramway when I watch these videos after, because I don't really get to see it when I'm fighting, because I'm doing mine. Mine comes from my first trainer, Master K, who was in New Jersey, Patterson, New Jersey. And often I'll hear the announcers talking about how unusual it is, which I kind of like. It harkens to kind of like a, I don't know, old school version of what Master K learned and then kind of adapted once he moved to the US and was teaching it to his own students. It's like a hybrid. This is a like assassin, executioner, hunting. That's what that movement is. So I've fought Payayong a few times before. I think this is our 3rd fight together. I've won the previous 2. One of them is in a really beautiful short documentary film made by this guy Simon. It's called Under the Rope, and it cuts pieces of that fight with Payayong with kind of voiceover from me of an interview, and then like he puts in these really beautiful images, some of my training with Master K, some training at my current gym. Like it's really cool. So Fa has cornered for me quite a few times before, but in the corner just then, going into round 1, he's telling me to be fumeur, which I'm not. That's not my fighting style. But he's like, just, like move around, don't be super aggressive in the first rounds. Usually they do that for like gambling purposes and to kind of like save your gas tank. That's not how I fight. I'm not averse to trying different things in fights. It's how you grow as a fighter. It's how you develop new skills under pressure. But it's an odd thing to advise me and an odd thing for me to follow. But I'm always trying to develop new things. So I felt good kind of working more with my hands in the early rounds of this fight and being very relaxed because while Payayong is a great fighter, she doesn't hurt. So I'm not really afraid of her. She does a lot of head kicks though, so you gotta keep your hands up. I've been southpaw for about, I don't know, a year maybe? 8 months. Oh, that was in round 1. I believed that was later in the fight, and Kevin's like, no, that was round 1. So Kevin is yelling at me already to go forward. He wants me to be more aggressive early, which in my actual fighting style as a Muay Thai fighter, you really want to wear out your opponents in the early rounds so that you can kind of capitalize on it in the later rounds. Fighters like Payayong, who is fumeur, she's actually kind of Muay Thai, she's like a kicker. She wants to save her gas tank as much as possible so that she doesn't get tired in the later rounds and can keep kicking. Kicking takes a great deal of energy, so if you tire yourself out, your kicks get really low. This is my style. Working your way in and then capitalizing once you're close. She actually has kind of a nice lock there, which I didn't feel in the fight. See how I'm not locked and she is? It's actually a good position on her part, even though I was the one scoring there.
Sylvie, you're on the porch the whole time.
So Kevin's telling me I'm on the porch, which means that I'm slightly too far away. I'm at her kicking range, but that's not a striking range for me. So I just need to get a little bit closer because I knee. This other guy in my corner is Pinoy. He is a trainer at a gym in Chiang Mai, and he sometimes still fights. I really like him. They had this photo, like a blown up photo to poster size on the wall of his face, like completely bloody on the back wall of Taipei for a while, and we would take pictures together near it because most of my photos on the posters that they put up for my fights are bloody face pictures as well. Here Fa is putting a lot of Vaseline on my forehead because I'm prone to cuts, so he's just double checking, making sure. And here again, he's like, keep your hands up, be relaxed, and just keep coming in. Come in and elbow. I'm not incapable of doing that at all. It's something that I can definitely try to do. But it's trying to do something rather than kind of flowing and fighting out of your natural instincts. There's a difficulty in trying things in that it requires effort beyond what kind of being in a more natural state is like in fights. It took a while for me to feel natural in southpaw. I used to like panic and switch back to orthodox under pressure. Now I stay in southpaw a lot more easily. Here I'm doing like a forward check with my left leg, which is stopping her kicks a little bit, which is good. Not there. But it interrupts her kicks a little bit in terms of timing. You can see her using her weight to push me against the ropes. She doesn't want to clinch with me because she can't win in the clinch, whereas I can. So she kind of drives me into the ropes and tries to use her weight to stagnate it there. If I stay in the middle of the ring like this, the ref shouldn't break it as easily, and I should be able to score there. Kevin's saying I'm too far away. I'm kind of hesitating on the outside. That was a good timing turn with her, but I landed on top. So even though she's the one who caused us to go to the ground, because I landed on top, it kind of neutralizes that point, and I might have a slight favor there. There you could see she tried to throw an elbow as we like fell into each other there. And here again, she's putting herself and me in the ropes and trying to pull me to the ropes, which will get the ref to come break us. And I should be pulling her back to the center because that's where I can score and kind of cause a lot more difficulty for her. Still throwing those elbows. That's the way to beat me that the girls know in Chiang Mai, so they throw a lot of elbows at me. Those are pretty good knees, but then again, just too close to the ropes, it kind of like hides my points. Now Kevin's telling me to gallop, which is a way to close the distance more quickly. I'm kind of marching, which is slow. It leaves me at kicking range for longer periods of time while I'm trying to close. So catching that kick right there, she scores by that kick landing on me. And then I have to, by catching it, land something after in order to neutralize her point or even gain a point. So there, when I caught it and didn't kind of do anything off of it, she still got a point for that kick to my body, which is something to be aware of if you tend to catch kicks rather than blocking them. So I think I remember Fa telling me to get closer, but he was still telling me to be fumeur. He was still telling me to kind of like move around and just kind of try different things. Probably the odds going into this fight were in my favor because I've beat her 2 times before. There he was saying when I get her in the clinch, I need to bring my leg back before throwing the straight knee because that's how you get more power on it, and a straight knee is a big point. There, he's kind of showing that gallop that Kevin's talking about, but he's telling me to kick out of it to kind of like come in and be very relaxed and kind of, I don't know, gently aggressive rather than like mowing her down, which is more of my Muay Khao style, is like really just going after people. I felt good in this fight, honestly. Like I felt very relaxed because I'm not engaging with her super a lot, so I'm not taking a lot of strikes, but I'm also not giving a lot of strikes. So it's kind of a like slow burn fight, which is not super beneficial for me. See how she drags me into the ropes and then she puts her head through them? That's the her coach just got up and got pissed because I kneed her after the ref had put his hands on us. When the ref puts his hands on you, you're supposed to stop. They tend to put their whole bodies on you so that it's like guaranteed that you can feel that they're stopping you. So here she's trying to land that elbow. She's like timing it as I come in. I've got my hands up pretty good as I get close. But see how she's going rope, 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 rope? Like, Diesel Noi always wants me to put my opponent in the rope so that I can strike and like destroy them on the rope because he's like a spider. He wants people in the web. I need to pull people off the rope because I fight people bigger than me so much that they just put their weight on me and wait for the ref to come break it. Right now I'm kind of chasing her. When I catch her, I'm scoring a little bit, but I'm not really capitalizing on what it looks like to be chasing after her like this. So if she's slipping away from me all the time, when I grab her, I have to really make an impactful visual punishment for having caught her. And in this round, I'm not quite doing that when I catch her. See how she like bounces off of me? And now we're in the ropes and it's kind of like back and forth. There, those knees are good for me.
Go, gallop! Gallop!
Kevin's telling me to go, 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 because since I'm chasing her, the more I can catch up with her and cut off the ring and kind of control her movements, the better for me. Right now, because I'm like a step behind her, I'm chasing her, and it looks like she's affecting all of the movement rather than me controlling where she's going in the ring. See how she just leaves her leg on my back a little bit? That's a way for the ref to come break it. She's pissed there because I need her when the ref had touched me again. She's a referee, so she has this whole, like, you should stop immediately when the referee comes there, but she also has these very little fouls that she does, like she grabs the ropes with her elbows all the time, which she knows is a foul as a referee, but it's her kind of like hidden trick to stay on the ropes. I can see in my energy in the corner here that I'm starting to feel the ineffectiveness of that round, like I was chasing after her too much. Fa is telling me that it's all good. He's like, this is fine. You're winning this fight already. And he's telling me to knee more straight.
Sylvie, you have to put her on the ground.
Kevin is telling me the opposite of what Fa is telling me. He's saying that I need to put her on the ground and get a big point because I'm behind from that round, from chasing her so much and not having like a super effective moment or a very dominant moment. So I have two very different stories of the fight being told to me. And I think that it feels better to think that I'm doing well. So I was listening to Fa, even though Fa doesn't know me, and Fa's telling me to fight in a way that isn't my way of fighting, whereas Kevin knows me and knows my fighting style. But I don't want to be told that I'm behind. So here we go. I'm chasing her again, but I'm staying a little closer. See how I'm just slightly out of range there? Because I'm like, I'm coming, but then I'm stopping just a little bit too far away. She wants to stay on the ropes. So I need to go in, grab her, and yank her off. So those are not super powerful kicks. They're not super effective, but they score. I score when we're really close, when we're kneeing. That's basically when I score. So I have to stay in there. And all of this is her scoring while I'm trying to get into the places where I can score. I see how she's like hooked on the rope and putting her head through. That makes it really hard for me to pull her off. If I pulled her off fast enough, it would show that she's holding the ropes. Kind of blocked by the ref here, but I think I'm getting a little bit of scoring knees in there. But this is the same story as round 3 was. See how she's kind of like pinballing around and I'm kind of chasing her? There I cut off the ring a little bit. I caught her while she was trying to grab my body there. It's my one elbow. She's trying to stagnate me by putting her knee into me. And I should be yanking her off the ropes at those moments because she's only on one leg. She's fighting hard. She does not like to do this. Like, this burns a lot of energy. If I could keep forcing her to burst, that would be good, but she just won that exchange with the ref coming to break us. Even though it's not like a score, by stagnating me, she gets like a point in having controlled that interaction. So here, trying to knee over her, got her in the ropes a little bit here. I needed to kind of like maybe burst in that moment when she was in the corner there to make more of a dominant end to that round. But because she was moving and kicking me a lot in that round, this was telling a progression in the story of her being ahead as she was in round 3. So I'm not winning this fight. I'm not super behind, but this is not a like, you're comfortable going into round 5. Kevin's telling me I have to get her off the ropes because she's just pinballing around to the ropes. He's saying if you don't pull her off the ropes, you lose. He wants me to go left so that I'm like going into her kick, which will snuff it.
But you have to get her off the rope.
So Kevin has this kind of like desperation in his voice. He's letting me know that I need to have a dominant round going into round 5. Fa tells me, you're winning already, just dance off. Look at the look I give him. I'm like, you are fucking crazy. I give Kevin the same look. I know that that's not the correct thing to just dance off round 5 because I don't feel like I'm ahead. Like maybe I'm a little ahead, but not enough to dance off a whole round. I don't know why, after giving him that look that's like, I clearly don't agree with what you just said, why I chose within the first couple seconds to follow his advice. Because I decided to follow his advice within the first couple seconds, not coming after her, now I'm in this terrible position where if I don't go after her, by having not started the round going after her, now it looks like I'm admitting that I'm behind and choosing to go after her as like a development of the fight rather than a current state of the fight. So I kind of put myself in a terrible position by being confused in the first 10 seconds of the fight. She's coming after me a little bit. By me not going, it kind of forced her to come forward a little, but the way rounds 3 and 4 went, I cannot be doing what I'm doing. Even if I'd won round 4, even if I was ahead, I still, as a Muay Khao fighter, I have to walk, I have to turn and go forward for at least the first half of a round in round 5, even if I'm ahead. I can't dance off a whole round. And I'm also not great at going backwards. So it's like, the way that she's not fully coming after me, but like still kind of aggressive, you can do that as your dance off of a round. You don't have to like run away the whole time. You can like put the onus on someone else to score. Oh, this was a terrible decision. This was a horrible way to finish this fight. This is not me. This is also not how the fight was going. She's kind of falling into it. She's coming after me a little bit, but not enough that the way that I'm staying back makes it look like, look how ahead I am and I just have to block you. She didn't play that round as though she thought she was super ahead either, but my decision was very bad. So the announcer, which I didn't hear at the time, just said Sylvie pair yom. Pair is to lose, yom is to submit. So basically he just said Sylvie gave up that fight. The announcer in Thai was like, Sylvie, just let that fight go. So the look that I gave Fa and the look that Fa gave me when I came to the corner, he's like, I don't understand why you just lost that fight. You were so ahead. And I looked at him like, what the fuck were you talking about? Just dance off round 5. That was not how this fight was going. So there was a total misunderstanding of how that fight was going, and super bummer. Alright, so this is fight 226, again in Taipei Stadium up in Chiang Mai. And I'm rematching Payayong, who was fight 225 for me. And I lost to her by making a terrible decision in round 5 to not go forward. There's Payayong. She's 112-pound Northern champion. I'm properly 100 pounds. And last time I had a cornerman who played a part in the terrible decision I made in round 5 in the last fight, but ultimately you are your own captain, you follow, trust yourself, all these different things. It was my fault that I lost that fight. But in this fight I have Nung, who I met when he was like 14 years old the first time I came out to Thailand in 2010. He was tiny and so funny. I love Nung a lot. He's very sweet. I love when he's in my corner. His advice is never complicated and he's never wrong, but it's very predictable. He's like, silly elbow, like, it's, I don't know. He makes me very happy. I like his energy. And then in my corner, I also have the Muay Khao legend, Lang Sawan, who lives in Payao, which is a district outside of Chiang Mai, but way up in the north. And he came to this fight and arrived kind of just before I was getting in the ring and gave me this like animated speech about how he wanted me to jab before grabbing in the clinch, because he'd seen me fight a little while ago and was like, no, you don't just grab in the clinch, you have to like work your way in, which is totally something I've been working on for a really long time and still not quite finessed in. But I was very excited to have him in my corner, even though I felt like there was a little bit more pressure, just because he's a legend and I admire him and he's taught me before. So it's, trying to like accomplish something or perform well, but I didn't feel super pressure. And because I had just lost to Paiyong, I think it was maybe like 2.5 weeks before or something, like it was an immediate rematch. I didn't have a fight in between. A lot of people were coming up to me at the stadium before this fight being like, don't just submit and give away the fight the way you did last time. They're like, fight hard the whole time. I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm totally here to avenge the last fight. But I thought it was kind of, even though it sucked and it feels terrible to lose fights, I thought it was actually kind of good that I'd lost the last one, because when you lose fights, it makes people, for me, more willing to fight me. So if I kind of am having a hard time finding opponents when I've had a loss or two, I feel like it makes people more willing to fight me. So even though I don't try to lose in any way, and I fucking hate it, it's not always a bad thing for me. But at this fight, talking to the gamblers right before getting in the ring, none of them were concerned about me losing this fight. Like, I thought it would make it so that people would bet against me, like it would make the odds more so that people would favor Paiyong, but it sounded like the gamblers still believed that the last fight was a total fluke, and that going into this fight, the odds were still pretty heavily in my favor, which is interesting. But it also gave me nice confidence knowing that going in, the gamblers were like, don't worry about it. Like, we believe Sylvie can take this fight. So in the last one, Fa, my corner, had been advising me to fight in a way that's not really my style. Again, I'm not against trying different things in fights, especially when you're rematching people. You kind of know what to expect from them, and it gives you more room to play around. But I was more determined in this fight, especially with Long Swan in my corner, to like be the Muay Khao fighter that feels good to me and that feels natural to me in how I fight. I'm still staying a little bit too far away from her like I was in the fight before. She is so good at getting those head kicks in and then face teeps. Everything comes really high with her. You gotta keep your hands up. But one of the mistakes I made in the last fight was not staying close enough to her. If you stay too far away, for me, not only am I in someone else's striking range, but you don't put the pressure on them to kind of like force their energy. If I let her just kind of like ride and relax, she's going to have more energy in the later rounds, which I don't want. Even if I don't strike her, even if I don't grab her, by staying close enough to her, it keeps pressure on her. It affects her breathing, and it makes her work harder, so I can kind of tire her out for the later rounds just by being closer. She started low clinching me in this fight more than she ever has in our previous fights. I think this is our 4th fight together. So I had 2 wins, then I lost the last one, and this is our 4th, I believe. So she's basically just keeping me off of her. She's using this first round to kind of juggle me, which is fine. Like, whatever scores in rounds 1 and 2 doesn't have a huge effect on the rest of the fight unless it needs to. So if you turn things around in rounds 3 and 4, it kind of effaces whatever happened in rounds 1 and 2. If the story continues the way that it started in rounds 1 and 2, then they kind of help tell the story as an overall arc of the fight. So Nung is telling me not to go straight because he can see me just getting like head kicked and teeped. Basically, she's juggling me because I'm coming straight in, so he's like, just angle a little bit.
She's low clinching you.
Kevin's pointing out that she's low clinching me, which she maybe tried to do in the last fight once, but it's new. It's something that she must have been coached on or told to do. coming into this fight. Because she's big, it's actually kind of a good tactic on her part, because if she can go low and kind of tie me up, she's keeping her body super close to me. It's hard for me to knee when she's that close. I need a little bit of space, and because she's bigger, she controls what that looks like. She kind of swallows me a little bit. I've been told by a few of my trainers that I shouldn't low clinch because I'm small, so it makes it look, it doesn't look great because I'm little. I think that that's like a gray area. There's a way to low clinch where you're completely controlling even as a smaller fighter. So I'm still stopping a little bit outside, but angling a little bit. So I'm trying to block that kick, and then I'm teeping right after it. Using the teep, for me, is actually really good. One of the things... Catching that kick. See how she's trying to get over to the ropes again? She puts her head through, and then grabs with her elbow. So sneaky to stay stuck on the ropes like that. So teeping as a Muay Thai fighter is actually really good because people are going backwards. They're trying to like stay away from me. So if I can teep, it puts me in control of the movement. Look at her put her leg over my back to kind of like get the ref to come to pull that apart. That was a good knee on her part as I'm coming in. So she's trying to like use the rope as kind of a launching pad, which is a pretty good tactic. But she's more comfortable doing that like head through the ropes thing. So when we get turned at all, that's her go-to move. This is something Dieselnoy worked with me on, is when someone puts themselves on the rope, you can like tag their legs and punch their chest, things like this. Karahat also, when people are against the ropes, he's basically like tag their openings all over the place. The way that I'm trying to catch up with her is much better than in the last fight where I was like chasing her and she was kind of like ricocheting off of things. Now I'm staying just close enough that it looks like I'm controlling where she's going. She's sticking her chin into my face in that clinch, pushing really hard. Neng Hong also does this from the Leon Cressert gym. She puts her chin in my like eye socket. It's a pretty good clinch move. It doesn't score, but it makes the person who's clinching you want to let go if they don't have like resolve to fucking hold on, which I have. So that kicking of the legs is to kind of like loosen up your back. I don't kick much, so my lower back gets tight from kneeing a lot. So that feels really good in rounds like 4 and 5 to do that. Kevin's telling me to pull her off the rope, which was a huge part of our last fight together. She was really putting herself on the ropes and getting the ref to come break us. So I just need to keep controlling the movement and where we are in the ring.
Sylvie.
I don't remember what Nung was telling me to do here, but it's probably pretty good. Probably like bringing your leg back. Here's Long Swan.
An extra moment. Pull her off the rope. The fight is over.
So Kevin's telling me to actually take a beat before pulling her off the ropes. So it's not like the moment she gets on the ropes you yank her off, but like let there be a beat and then pull her off, which kind of visually emphasizes the moment. My mom does this thing where right before she says a really bad cuss word, she'll pause. And it gives like super emphasis to the word. It's kind of like that. You give a beat and then you yank her off the rope. Here we go. Here we go. That's not a huge point, but it is a dominant moment, which is really good. So the English announcer is talking about my resolve in this fight off of the last loss, which I need to be demonstrating in the way that I cut off the ring and the way that I come after her. See how that forced her to kind of come off the ropes after me? That's really good, but I need to reclose that space. Here we're off the ropes just enough, just those few inches, and now I'm pulling her into the middle of the ring a little bit. Look at her fight she landed on top and she's the one who caused that roll. So she got a point on that. And I have to go now to like take a dominant moment to make up for it. Pull her off the ropes. There. These are really good points for me because not only are they just points on a scorecard, but visually, as the smaller fighter and getting these like dynamic moves in, those tell the story of me starting to wear her out and like catch her and is the coyote gonna catch the rabbit kind of thing, is like I'm catching her. That's a good point for her. And then she's just grinding me into the ropes, but I got on the other side of her and I'm trying to like pull her off. It's like air wrestling. She's got a really good like widening her stance. See how she's trying to turn me? It makes it hard to turn her and throw her. Tall fighters are pretty easy to turn because their center of gravity is really up. She's got this beautiful wide, like when we clinch up, she goes really wide and it's effective. That's a good strike. See how she like twists and bounces out? But here, oh, you want to put your head through the ropes and I'm behind you? That looks so good for me. Even though she's the one who like put herself in that position. Oh! And take the back at the end of the round. Now, if my corner tells me you're ahead, this is easy, that's true. Not in the prior fight. Lang Swan made this huge deal, which is what he told me before the fight this time and after my fight the last time he watched me, which is that he wants me to jab on my way in, but he's pointing at her. He's like, look at her, she's done. He's like, she's tired, go after her.
Sylvie, off the rope
The
is working.
legends of the Golden Age who fought against Lang Swan say he was a nightmare to fight because he's so exhausting. He's telling me to teep before grabbing her. Teep num is what he said. He's like, teep num, teep num. Look at him yank down. Even his like pantomime of clinching, you're like, that's totally how you should fight. He's like, look at her. He's like, look at her. She's so tired. Turn her and me. Chuck claw is to like grab the neck. He's like, when you grab her neck, yank her to the side. He wants me to like turn her. So you get this like, when you grab someone, you turn them and you're showing strength and demonstrating dominance. So you turn them first to get them off balance and then you land your knee. And it just amplifies the point you would get if you just grabbed a knee. Like it's like that beat before pulling someone off the rope. Having a moment of just ragdolling them and then scoring your points, far superior to just coming in and knee. Oh, she cannot close her arms here. She's trying to push my face off. That doesn't work. So I have to get behind her leg. I'm the one who kind of moved us over to the ropes here, so I need to now pull us off. But she can't do her, like, grabbing off the rope. She tried to grab low. I caught her on the way down and then did a siap, like, right into the middle. I can hear her not being able to breathe at this point, which is why all of these are landing so nice. The ref stopped that because she wasn't defending herself, but then didn't give any kind of, like... He's grabbing us because she's sticking her head through. But in that last exchange, I don't know technically why he needed to break that. He was kind of protecting her. Not in a terrible way, but that could have been a knockout if he had not intervened. But when I have these moments, I kind of need to slow down and start feeling that she's so exhausted and like picking the shot that's going to knock her out rather than like panicking and trying to get the next knee. If I can't get my knee because I'm too close or like it's the wrong angle, that's when you throw the elbow. Elbows and knees work together. That was a good elbow on her part. It hit the back of my head and I felt it after the fight. Didn't cut though, which is good. Look at her teep, 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 putting herself in the corner to like try to give herself the best protective position. She's overturned, which makes it easier for me to like come around and knee in. But my trainers hate when I do those side knees only. They want to see me create the space so that I can get straight knees, which is how you wear someone down and knock them out rather than like making it hard for yourself and constantly having to like keep wrestling. Oh, body shot push the leg down. These are things
Yes.
that people have worked with me on. Diesel Noy has worked with me on that.
Nice
Frenu
gallop.
has worked with me on that. And when you can do it in a fight, when you can do it
Nice
under pressure,
baby.
and it's like kind of a natural continuity of what you're doing in the fight, that's beautiful. That's knowing what you're doing.
That's long swan in the corner.
I don't remember doing that at all. But I'm proud of myself for it. That's cool. Long Swan's jumping in there and saying, again, he's like, when you go in and you grab her, throw the knees that I've been making you do on the back. Like, I should actually, when I lock her, be pushing with my forearms to create the space I need, because she wants to collapse that space to protect herself. Look at him point at her. He's like, she's done. He liked the body punch. He's like, punch her in the body and then grab her. That's my next stage in what I really need to work on. I love him pointing at her. Is on the way in doing damage and then grabbing. It's like doing the whole hunt. And then when the animal's tired, that's when you go in for the kill shot. It's not like shooting all your bullets like from super far away.
Just take an extra moment.
So if I could like mentally calm down a bit and close that distance and strike and then close a little bit more,
Gallop, gallop.
that's like the next phase of being a more comprehensive fighter. This is really good. So she's putting herself in the corner, and because I'm winning, I'm not backing up. Like, I'm not making her chase me, but I'm staying back and basically striking at will, like forcing her to come out of the corner or looking like I'm keeping her in there. Normally I would just close in and like grind her into the corner, which doesn't look good. They call it Muay Mua, which means like murky or indistinct. The way I stayed back right there is new, but it shows my comfort with that situation and being able to like strike. I think I got that from Karahat.
Sylvie, go.
So now Kevin's telling me to go to keep closing on her. I have already won this fight. Like, I don't have to score anymore. But Long Swan is like, keep going, because as a Muay Thai fighter, what do? You dern. You walk. So having lost the last fight by dancing off too early as a terrible decision and not having actually had the lead in that moment, even though I have the lead, this is the like, fuck you, I lose a fight with this like ridiculous decision. Now I'm gonna come at you the entire time, even though I'm winning. It's like a Muay Thai ethic that I believe, so I think I should embody. I deserve to lose that last fight, and I learned a lot from it because it's not my ethic. I looked over there to Long Swan because he was like waving his arms around, and he's like, keep going. Just go to the last bell. I love that. She was not happy to be fighting me this time. Usually she smiles at me, we're very friendly, all of this stuff. I see her a lot because she's a referee at this stadium. She was not happy to be fighting me and not happy for the rematch. I think she knew I was going to come after her. So happy to have like redeemed myself, but super happy to have Long Swan in my corner for this as well. This guy over here, Tiger Knop, is a photographer for the ring. I think he wanted me to come in and take a photo in the center of the ring, and I didn't hear him, unfortunately. So losing's not the worst thing, but the corrections you make off of it are really important. They're not always technical. Sometimes they're strategic, or like, I call it ethical, like having the Muay Thai ethic was a huge difference between fight 225 and 226 against the same opponent, and they look so different. By looking at them together, you can see the huge difference in the story of the fight and how that's supposed to go. This is the fight board at Taipei. Look at all of those schedules. You always come back here and take your gloves off.
Everybody getting unwrapped.
Just right there with your opponent. It's not a big deal.
It's a tough fight, baby.
Paeyong's tough. I like her so much. That's her team. This tall girl right here is actually really fun to watch. I watch her on the live feed sometimes. This photographer right here in the blue shirt afterwards came up to me and was like, I don't think I could fight you. I was like, I'll fight you right now. I still have energy.
Drop the monk on when you can.
These people see each other all the time. Like, not only because Paya Young works there, that's Cobb Cassette. He's the promoter there. He's awesome. And this is P.O., who does the Thai language announcements. And then this guy in the light blue shirt over here does the English.
Thank you guys for watching the live.
This is where you weigh in before each of your fights. You don't have to weigh the same as your opponent. There's about 6 kilos between me and Paya Young. But they weigh you both before each fight. So I think for gambling purposes, so that they can like tell people the details of everything.
Nung was a fighter who grew up at Lana.
This is Taipei. They have like bars all around and VIP seating. And up here, we're just passing this stage has the live musicians who play the Muay Thai music. This is the like preparation area where all the fighters get ready before their fights. You're totally like 2 feet away from your opponent sometimes. It's not a problem at all. It's very social. They come with their whole gym and people are like drinking soda and hanging out and laughing. It's very much like way of life kind of thing.
Now you have the power of the tablet. Yes, it is.
Hey guys, it's still running.
I think Kevin handed me the tablet. Yeah. So I was holding the tablet for the live feed. I don't know how to do that.